When the King of Curses meets the manifestation of pure hollow instinct, you would assume that we'd have ourselves a competitive match, but one of these fighters operates at a speed that makes lightning look like it's frozen. Power scalers have had a lot of fun theorizing about this matchup, and after diving deep into both of the characters' feats, abilities, and scaling, I have to tell you that this fight is way more one-sided than some fans would like you to believe. So yeah, without further delay, let's dive into my video breaking down and analyzing this insane matchup between Hollow Ichigo versus Sukuna. A perfect arena for both of these characters to fight would be somewhere with enough space for their destruction without worrying about collateral damage. So think of an arena like the vast expanse of Los Noches. When it comes to the forms and abilities of the characters, for Hollow Ichigo we're going with his Vasto Lorde form, where he absolutely violated Ulquiorra. This is Hollow Ichigo at the very peak of his instinctive nature before he had merged with Zangetsu. In terms of Sukuna, let's face it, he gets everything. All 20 fingers absorbed, his Heian Era true form with those 4 arms and his 2 mouths, with complete access to his shrine techniques, the 10 shadows from Megumi's body, and we're giving him this entire arsenal because frankly he is definitely gonna need it. So to make it fair, both of these characters have no prep time, no restriction on their abilities, and this fight ends when one of them is unable to continue, whether if that's through death, knockout, or if they've been reduced to nothing but atoms. So let's have a look at Hollow Ichigo. He is referred to as Zangetsu, White, or Hollow Ichigo, whatever you want to call him. He is far more than just the inner demon trope. This character represents everything that Ichigo suppresses, and he was born from an experimental hollow that infected Ichigo's mother and fused with Ichigo's inherited Shinigami powers from his father Isshin. Hollow Ichigo is literally what happens when you strip away all of Ichigo's restraint and morality and just let the pure combat instinct of a hollow run wild. The moment that Ichigo's inner hollow had taken over his body during the Ulquiorra fight, the entire power dynamic shifted so hard that it had given viewers a collective whiplash. Remember Ulquiorra's Lanza del Relampago, the attack that was stated to dwarf Los Noches itself? Well, Hollow Ichigo was able to catch it with one hand, and he had crushed it like it was made out of paper. Then he fired a Saro that not only overpowered Ulquiorra's strongest attack, but it created explosions that you could see from literally miles away. Even during the Soul Society arc, during Ichigo's battle against Byakuya, he got a taste of the Inner Hollow's power. Hollow Ichigo was moving so fast that a Captain-class Shinigami with one of the fastest Shikai was unable to even track him. He was landing hits through Senbonzakura's defenses like it wasn't even there, all while laughing maniacally and trying to psych out Byakuya. So like I've mentioned, Hollow Ichigo's moveset is literally the same as Ichigo's, only if you removed all of the safety restrictions and cranked everything up to a power of 11. Hollow Ichigo's version of the Getsuga Tensho is black and it literally warps space around it. The Saro that he launches from his horns has enough force to delete mountains, and I'm not exaggerating, we literally see him vaporize attacks which could destroy structures that are visible from hundreds of miles away. This isn't even mentioning his high-speed regeneration, which works automatically. We're not talking about consciously healing wounds. Hollow Ichigo regenerates entire limbs instantly without even thinking about it. Ulquiorra had blown a hole through Ichigo's chest, and when Hollow Ichigo took over, he just got up with no reverse curse technique needed, no energy expenditure. It was an instant regeneration. His Sonido is also on a completely different level from a regular Arankaz. While they're using high-speed movement, Hollow Ichigo is basically teleporting. And when it comes to his defensive iron skin, well, it gives him passive defense so strong that attacks capable of leveling city blocks just bounce off of him without him noticing. When it comes to Sukuna, I'm not going to downplay him. The King of Curses dominated the Heian era so thoroughly that even after death, sorcerers couldn't destroy his fingers. For over 1,000 years, these cursed objects just kept getting stronger, waiting for some idiot teenager to come along and eat one and bring back the ultimate calamity. This is a being who had reshaped how humanity understood cursed energy just by existing alone. Sukuna's defeat of Satoru Gojo is probably the most impressive feat in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Through 5 domain clashes, perfect tactical execution, and developing a technique to cut through space itself, Sukuna achieved what everyone had thought was impossible. His divine flame turned Jogo, a special grade curse, into ash instantly and reduced chunks of Shibuya to nothing. While in his true form, he had fought multiple special grade sorcerers fires at once, landing consecutive black flashes while maintaining his domain. His malevolent shrine carved a 200-meter radius down to molecular dust, as he completely changed what domain expansions could do by manifesting one without barriers. The shrine technique of Sukuna is deceptively simple, but it's devastatingly effective too. Dismantle cuts anything without cursed energy, while Cleave adjusts its power based on its target's durability. But the real game changer is that world-cutting slash. By expanding his target to space itself, he is able to create an attack that bypassed Gojo's infinity by just cutting through the concept of distance. Malevolent Shrine is built different from other domains. It has no barrier, which means that there is no escape route, but it also has no protection. You could say that it's a blender with a 200-meter radius that has infinite slashes that don't stop until everything within its vicinity is turned to dust. Add in the 10 Shadows technique that he stole from Megumi, and you've got Mahoraga's adaptation to shadow manipulation and various Shikigami at Sukuna's disposal. Then you have to consider the optimizations that Sukuna would have when he has access to his true form. His forearms would mean constant hand signs while fighting, 2 mouths allow simultaneous chanting, and that 1,000 years of combat experience means that he's seen pretty much every trick in the book. Honestly, on paper, it does sound like an absolutely incredible matchup, Ichigo's inner demon versus Yuji's inner demon. But we're about to discover just how uneven this matchup really is. So let's compare their abilities. This is where things get absolutely ridiculous, as we're looking at Reiatsu versus Cursed Energy. It should be no surprise that at Hollow Ichigo's level, the Reiatsu playbook is thrown out of the window. Remember when Aizen flexed on Soifon and her ability just didn't work? Well, this is because superior spiritual pressure straight up negates weaker abilities. Hollow Ichigo's Reiatsu is so dense that regular hollows would disintegrate just from being near to him. An example of this is the Primera Espada Stark, who killed other hollows by just simply existing in their general vicinity. So I've no doubt that Hollow Ichigo would also operate in a similar way. Meanwhile, Cursed Energy works like electricity that runs through the body. It needs precise control, proper flow, and technique application. Sukuna's mastery over Cursed Energy is incredible for his verse, as he switches between domain amplification and techniques faster than one can think. But Jujutsu Kaisen's power system caps out at city to mountain level destruction, while Bleach characters have been shown to throw around country destroying attacks in the Arrancar arc, and this is without the characters even showing off the peaks of their power. The versatility argument is interesting though, as Sukuna has way more variety in his moveset, with his slashing attacks, fire manipulation, shadow techniques, adaptation through Mahoraga, spatial cutting, domain expansion, while Hollow Ichigo basically just has delete everything in whatever direction he is facing. I mean, when your basic attack is able to level off mountains and you move faster than your opponent can even see or think, then is versatility even useful at that level? So let's have a look at each of their strengths. So Hollow Ichigo's whip had sent Uryu flying through multiple buildings without him even trying. And like I mentioned earlier, he also caught and crushed Lanza del Relámpago with his bare hand. Sukuna's best strength showing was punching Jogo through skyscrapers and fighting Gojo hand to hand. While this is impressive for Jujutsu Kaisen standards, we're comparing building level impacts to someone who can wipe out entire continents. When it comes to speed, he is where Sukuna fans need to really sit down. Community calculations based on Ulquiorra's movements and Hollow Ichigo's casual interception put him at speeds which are 1 to 5% of the speed of light. This isn't the speed of Hollow Ichigo just traveling, this is his actual combat speed. Sukuna, on the other hand, with his most generous of calculations with his fight with Gojo, he is moving at best at Mach 3 or 5. Some fans have tried to rejig the numbers to Mach 4670 based on electromagnetic wave interpretations, but even that pulls him over 100 times slower than Hollow Ichigo's casual movements. This isn't a speed blitz, it's a actual speed massacre. In terms of techniques, Sukuna takes this category through sheer experience and technical refinement. 1,000 years of combat, forearms for optimal striking angles, perfect efficiency in every movement, his true form represents martial arts perfection. But Hollow Ichigo's berserker style hides devastating combat intelligence. He instantly identifies Ulquiorra's patterns mid-fight, and he sets up attacks from multiple angles, and the whole difference between a king and his horse speech showed that he understands combat philosophy on a fundamental level. Where Sukuna fights like a chess best grandmaster, Hollow Ichigo fights like a force of nature that happens to be really smart about where he should hit. When considering intelligence and strategy, Sukuna's tactical genius created the world-cutting slash by using Maharaga as a blueprint. He is known to exploit loopholes within binding vows, and he has plans which span over centuries, and he is known for transforming psychological warfare into an art form. The method that he employed to systematically break down Gojo's advantages demonstrates next level strategic thinking. But Hollow Ichigo's combat instincts operate on a different wavelength entirely. During his inner world fight with Ichigo, he perfectly explained power dynamics while overwhelming him physically. Hollow Ichigo doesn't need to plan out 10 steps in advance when he can see the perfect move instantly and execute it before opponents realize that they are dead. The experience gap does favor Sukuna with his millennium of battles, but quality might trump quantity, as Hollow Ichigo's limited screen time involved him battling against individuals like Byakuya, Ulquiorra, and Ichigo in his inner world. Sukuna, on the other hand, spent most of his 1,000 years bullying sorcerers who couldn't even touch him, as you could describe him as a big fish in a much smaller pond. In terms of durability and stamina, Hollow Ichigo was able to tank Ulquiorra's Cerro Oscuras at point blank. This was an attack that warped space itself, and he got up like something had just flicked him. His iron skin provides passive defense against city level attacks, and with his auto high-speed regeneration, it means that if you are even able to somehow hurt him, he is back at full health before you can even capitalize upon his injury. Sukuna was shown to have survived 200% Hollow Purple, barely, and it even resulted in his own domain being tanked. His reverse curse technique provides excellent healing for him, but it requires conscious activation and it burns through his cursed energy reserves. He's taken hits that could level city blocks, but that's still leagues below what Hollow Ichigo shrugs off casually. For stamina, Sukuna's got massive reserves, over twice what Yuta has, but here's the kicker: Hollow Ichigo's regeneration costs him nothing. While Sukuna's burning through energy to heal paper cuts, Hollow Ichigo's regenerating entire limbs for free. Let's have a look at each of their ultimate abilities. The Cerro that Hollow Ichigo charges between his horns isn't just strong, it's reality breaking. This attack overpowered Ulquiorra's Lanza del Relampago, which has the ability to cause wide-scale destruction. We're talking genuine city-destroying attacks used as casual openers. His Vasto Lorde transformation had allowed him to transform the Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra into scattered chunks of flesh faster than he was even able to regenerate. Sukuna's world-cutting slash, on the other hand, conceptually should work on anyone, as it cuts through space itself. His Divine Flame also creates thermobaric explosions that vaporize everything within his domain. These are techniques that rewrite the very rules of combat. And this is true for the Jujutsu Kaisen verse, where city-level destruction is considered to be impressive. Hollow Ichigo's biggest limitation is time. He typically only manifests when Ichigo's near death, and there is always that struggle for control that Hollow Ichigo has to go through. His berserker nature means that he might not use his full strategic power, though his instincts usually make up for it. Sukuna, on the other hand, is loaded with restrictions as his weakness. He has binding vows, hand signs, chanting requirements, curse technique burnout after domain expansions, the constant energy drain from healing, especially against someone with Hollow Ichigo's speed. These moment-to-moment weaknesses do become death sentences for someone like Sukuna. Now let's have a look at Sukuna and Hollow Ichigo clashing. Imagine Malevolent Shrine activating. There's 200 meters of infinite slashes raining down. Hollow Ichigo's iron skin tanks the initial barrage, while his regeneration handles whatever gets through his defenses. Before Sukuna can even think about Divine Flame, a Cerro Blast carves through the domain's center like it's made out of tissue paper. Even if World Cutting Slash could theoretically one-shot Hollow Ichigo, good luck landing it on someone at sub-relativistic speeds. By the time Sukuna has made the hand sign for his attacks, Hollow Ichigo's already behind him, probably asking about the difference between a king and his horse while ripping him in half. Now I do want to consider whether if there are any wild cards which could sway the tide of this battle. For Hollow Ichigo, it is Ichigo's very power. We're not talking about a separate entity that can be exercised or sealed. He is literally a part of Ichigo's soul. This means that Hollow Ichigo's power could spike even higher if Ichigo accepts him, and we see this during the 1000-year Blood War arc with Ichigo's Horn of Salvation form. Sukuna's wild card is his sheer refusal to lose. The King of Curses would sacrifice anything. He would create the most restrictive binding vows imaginable and pull out techniques from 1,000 years ago, whatever it takes to defeat the opponent. Some people have even joked that this matchup would involve Sukuna pulling out of his arse a anti-hollow technique that he had saved from the Heian era. For him to come up with such an arse pull, it would need Sukuna to survive long enough for him to set this up. And against a force of nature like Hollow Ichigo, who could turn him into red mist before he even finishes a hand sign, well, it leaves me wishing good luck for Sukuna with his anti-hollow Heian era technique. So in preparation for this video, I did run a community poll about this matchup where I asked who would win in a 1 vs 1. Out of 15,000 votes, 83% had voted for Hollow Ichigo to win, while 17% had surprisingly voted for Sukuna. Hopefully, after seeing my comprehensive breakdown, you can understand and appreciate why Sukuna is thoroughly outmatched in this battle. I'm assuming that the 17% of people who had voted for Sukuna had probably imagined some elaborate, perfect scenario where everything goes correct for him to win. But even then, it's very unlikely that Sukuna would survive an encounter with Hollow Ichigo. But we have reached the point of the video where I do want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do all of you think about this matchup? Who do you think would win? Can Sukuna with his 1,000 years of experience find some miracle solution against Hollow Ichigo? I'd love to read all of your thoughts, so definitely continue the discussion in the comments, especially those 17% of individuals who think Sukuna has a chance. Thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.